People focus more on their image than on the goal. If someone gives feedback, we may feel attacked instead of supported. If another person gets praise, we may feel jealous instead of happy. In meetings, people may argue just to prove they are right. They stop listening. They defend their ideas strongly, even when better ideas exist. This creates conflict, stress, and a negative environment. Instead of growing together, people protect their pride. Work becomes a place of tension, not progress. One of the biggest problems ego creates is in learning. Learning means accepting that we do not know everything. It means being open to correction. But ego does not like to look not perfect. So when someone teaches us or corrects us, ego feels uncomfortable. In English learning, for example, if we feel ashamed of mistakes, we may stop speaking. If we think we already know enough, we stop improving. Ego blocks growth because it says, "I already know," or "I don't want to look wrong." But the truth is simple. When ego is high, improvement becomes slow. When ego is calm, learning becomes easier. All these situations affect our inner peace too. When ego controls us, our mind is always busy. We think about who respected us, who hurt us, who was right, and who was wrong. We repeat conversations in our head. We feel stress and anger. Peace becomes difficult. But when we manage ego, we choose understanding over victory. We choose communication over silence. We choose growth over pride. Slowly, life becomes lighter, so we can clearly see the cause and effect. When ego is strong, fights increase, distance grows, conflicts appear, and learning stops. But when ego is balanced, relationships improve, teamwork becomes easier, and personal growth becomes possible. Understanding this helps us not only in life, but also in English, because we learn to describe problems, feelings, and consequences in clear and meaningful sentences. Ego versus confidence. Now we are going to talk about a very important idea, because many people confuse these two words. They think ego and confidence mean the same thing, but in reality, they are very different. Understanding this difference can change how we see ourselves and how we grow. Both ego and confidence are connected to how we see ourselves, but they work in very different ways inside our mind and in our behavior. Let's begin with a simple picture. Ego needs to prove. Confidence does not need to prove. When a person is controlled by ego, they always feel a strong need to show others that they are smart, right, or better. In conversations, they try to win. They talk a lot about their achievements. If someone disagrees, they feel uncomfortable. Their self-worth depends on other people's opinions. But a confident person is different. Confidence is quiet. A confident person knows their value inside. They do not feel pressure to show it all the time. They can listen to others without feeling smaller. Another difference is in emotional reaction. Ego gets angry easily. Confidence stays calm. When ego hears criticism, it feels attacked. It reacts fast with anger, defense, or excuses. It feels like someone is trying to break its image. But confidence does not break so easily. A confident person can hear feedback and think, maybe this can help me. They do not feel that one mistake destroys their value. Because their sense of self is stable, their reaction is calmer. This calmness is a big sign of real confidence. Ego is also afraid to be wrong, while confidence is okay with mistakes. For ego, being wrong feels like losing. It feels like shame. So ego tries to hide mistakes or blame others. It says, "It was not my fault." But confidence understands something very important. Mistakes are part of learning. A confident person can say, "Yes, I made a mistake," without feeling small. They know one error does not define them. This attitude helps them grow faster in life and in learning, including learning English. Another big difference is about attention. Ego wants attention. It wants to be seen, praised, and noticed all the time. If others do not give attention, ego feels ignored and hurt. It looks outside for value. But confidence knows itself quietly. A confident person does not always need others to say, "You are great." They feel okay even when no one is watching. Their value comes from inside, not only from outside approval. This makes them more peaceful and less dependent on others' opinions, so we can see a clear comparison. Ego is loud, reactive, and sensitive. Confidence is calm, stable, and secure. Ego focuses on image. Confidence focuses on growth. Ego says, "I must look strong." Confidence says, "I can be real, even with weaknesses." When we understand this difference, we stop trying to feed our ego and start building true confidence. This idea is also very helpful for English practice. When you speak English, ego may say, "Don't speak, you might make mistakes." But confidence says, "Speak and learn. Mistakes are okay." So managing ego and building confidence go together. The more confident you become, the less ego controls your reactions. And the less ego controls you, the more calmly and clearly you can grow in your life, your relationships, and your learning journey. Why our ego becomes strong. Now let's go deeper in a very gentle and simple way. A big question is, why does our ego become so strong? We were not born wanting to argue all the time or refusing to say sorry. Ego usually grows because of experiences, feelings, and fears that develop over time. When we understand the reasons, we stop blaming ourselves too much and start understanding ourselves better. One important reason is the fear of looking weak. Many people grow up hearing messages like, "Don't cry," "Don't show weakness," or "Always be strong." Slowly, the mind learns that being wrong, saying sorry, or asking for help means being weak. So ego becomes like a shield. It tries to protect us from this feeling. When someone corrects us, ego quickly stands up and says, "No, I am right." Not because we truly believe it, but because we are afraid of looking small in front of others. Ego is trying to protect our image, even if it creates problems. Another reason is past hurts. Maybe in the past someone laughed at us, embarrassed us, or did not respect us. These experiences stay inside like emotional memories. Later in life, when a similar situation happens, ego reacts strongly. It says, "Protect yourself. Don't let this happen again." So we become more defensive. We get angry faster. We take things personally. The current situation may be small, but the old pain makes our reaction bigger. Ego becomes strong because it is trying to protect old wounds. Insecurity is also a big reason. Insecurity means we are not fully sure about our value. Inside, we may feel not good enough, but we don't like this feeling. So ego works like a cover. It tries to show the opposite. It tries to look confident, perfect, and always right. But this is not real confidence. It is fear hiding behind pride. The more insecure a person feels inside, the stronger their ego reactions can be. They argue more, defend more, and feel hurt more easily because their sense of self is not stable. Wanting respect is another natural reason. Every human wants to be respected. This is healthy. But when someone does not feel respected enough in life, ego becomes more sensitive. Even small actions can feel like disrespect. Maybe someone speaks in a normal tone, but we feel they are talking down to us. Ego becomes very alert, always checking, do people value me? Do they see my worth? This constant checking makes reaction stronger and peace weaker. Childhood experiences also play a big role. The way we were treated as children shapes how we see ourselves. If a child was always criticized, they may grow up with a strong need to prove themselves. If a child was not listened to, they may grow up speaking louder and defending their opinions strongly. If love and appreciation were rare, ego may grow to search for importance everywhere. These patterns are often unconscious. We don't plan them. They just become part of our personality over time. When we understand these reasons, we see ego differently. Instead of seeing it only as a bad thing, we see it as a protection system that became too strong. It tried to help us feel safe, respected, and valuable. But sometimes it uses unhealthy methods, like anger, pride, and silence. Understanding this helps us be kinder to ourselves and others. It also helps us pause and think, maybe this reaction is not only about now. Maybe it is connected to fear, past pain, or insecurity. This awareness is the first step toward managing ego in a healthier and more peaceful way. What is ego management? Now we come to one of the most important parts of our talk. What is ego management? Until now, we have understood what ego is, how it behaves, and why it becomes strong. But understanding alone is not enough. We also need a way to handle it in daily life. Ego management is not about removing ego completely. That is not possible, and it is not necessary. Ego management means learning how to guide our ego so that it does not control us. It means we are the driver, not our emotions. In very simple words, ego management means controlling our reactions. Many problems in life do not start because of the situation itself. They start because of how we react. Someone says one sentence, and we answer with anger. Someone gives advice, and we respond with defense. Ego management teaches us to pause before reacting. That small pause, even for a few seconds, can change everything. Instead of speaking from hurt or pride, we give ourselves time to think. We ask inside, is my reaction helpful or harmful? This is the first step of real control. Ego management also means staying calm, even when emotions rise. Staying calm does not mean you have no feelings. It means you do not allow feelings to explode without control. When ego feels attacked, it pushes us to speak fast, loudly, and strongly. But calmness is power. When you stay calm, you can listen better. You understand the full situation. You choose your words more carefully. Calm people solve more problems than reactive people. Calmness gives space for understanding, while ego reactions create more heat and more conflict. Another important part of ego management is thinking before speaking. Words are powerful. Once we say something, we cannot take it back easily. Ego often speaks quickly. It wants to defend, attack, or prove something. But ego management teaches us to slow down. Before speaking, we can ask simple questions inside. Is this true? Is this kind? Is this necessary? This small thinking process protects relationships. It reduces regret. It helps us communicate in a way that builds connection instead of breaking it. Ego management also means choosing peace instead of winning. This is not easy, but it is very powerful. In many arguments, we have two choices. We can try to win the argument, or we can try to keep the relationship healthy. Ego usually chooses victory. It says, I must show I am right. But peace-focused thinking asks, what is more important in the long term, this small point or this relationship? When we choose peace, we may let go of the need to prove ourselves. We may say,